What's up? I'm gonna
The
go over like some
moon also
Diana like jungle
rises.
specific tips and then like some Diana combos, like main combos.
Turret
Um,
plating will soon fall.
yeah, so some main things that you need to know about Diana is that you can use your Q in very good ways. So what I always like to do at
Follow
the early
no
game,
false
like when
light.
walking to like place your first ward, always just be queuing bushes. Just be queuing bushes. It's like an Olaf queue. You get vision from this. So you should always be queuing bushes, you know? If you don't know if someone's there, just queue it. It's always good to be safe. Um, and then
My eyes
you
are
also got to know that
open.
your queue is always anti-clockwise. So whatever direction of the map you are, it's going to be anti-clockwise. So if you just think about that in game, it's going to be not clockwise, anti-clockwise. So yeah, it's like just good to know. Next thing is like queuing. This is some pretty basic stuff, but I'm gonna go on to like
Dusk
more advanced
approaches.
stuff next. So you can QE basically. Uh, and your Q doesn't even have to land by the time you E. So if you QE, you're Eing before your Q even lands, but it's still resetting your E. Um, yeah, if I turn off this and just show you. So
Ignorant
I see some
thrall.
players like queuing and then waiting for your Q to hit, then Eing, which is always just really bad. Because this Diana, you can legit just insta hop onto someone. So that's pretty important. Next is EQing over
I
Baron
speak
or Drake.
only truth.
There's a specific spot in Drake, right, where these rocks are. That's where I like to see it. Where this like rock is, and these three little pebbles. That's like the distance where you can queue over Drake. Also, you have to be facing inwards to the bit, so you have to. It's like a Riven queue, like the way you'd wall hop as a Riven. You can't like from here. I can't just spam E on the Drake. You know, I have to hug myself into the wall before I can E over. So
I
you always just gotta
will
push
be
yourself into the
heard.
wall before you can E. And then for Baron, it's in between here and here. I'd say here to here. It's like a really optimal. Yeah, that's a good place to EQ over. Um,
I cannot
Also
turn
another thing,
back.
when you're ganking someone, always be looking for the opportunity to QE onto a minion. So let's say that this dummy is like a minion wave. Just represent this as a minion wave, and this is the person we want to hit. This is the enemy. So let's say you're coming up for a gank at this position. It's really shit, I
They
know.
could not
But
break
you can
me.
actually chase this enemy down. If you QE onto this minion, and then E onto the enemy, it's actually like pretty insane how much space you can close with Diana. Another thing to note is that when you QE into someone, Diana, Diana's like automatic immediate input is to auto
No
attack whatever
more
you EQ
lies.
to. So if I let it EQ, it's gonna auto attack immediately because the E acts as like a right click, basically. So what you want to do when you EQ to a minion is that EQ and then immediately spam input off the minion. Otherwise you're gonna auto attack and you're gonna waste time.
They
So
leave
EQ
me
spam
no
input off so you don't
choice.
put in that auto. Um, and then E onto the target and you can even flash and stuff. Um, that's pretty much it for the jungle tips. And there's some general combo tips. Is you can have a triple E. This is actually decent for clearing actually. So let me just represent this with blue and gromp. I
Chosen
love to
of
do
the
this with blue
moon.
and gromp. So let's say I'm pulling blue and gromp like this. I pull this over. One thing to do when you're in this position is queuing onto blue, and your mark is still going to be available to gromp. So you
They
can
would
space your autos
not
really well
break me.
with this. So you can do that and then E for your attack speed passive. Because you want to be weaving in your abilities between your attack speed, right? So you, it's like about 3 autos, I would say. It's 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, and then you use your next ability to reset your attack speed passive.
Embrace the night.
You also want to be keeping an eye on your cleaves when you're clearing as well. That's like pretty important. But yeah, obviously timing all your abilities to your attack speed passive, using them, weaving them in. But yeah, that that's called like a triple E.
The
Basically, where
moon
you can get 3
also
E resets.
rises.
So yeah, you can do it honest, obviously on blue buff and gromp. You can also do it like when you're EQing to this, like right here. Oh wait, no, I have to be in the other direction. So let's reset. Um, you can basically QE onto like something like Krogs, and your mark is still gonna stay for this baby Krog.
Follow
If you QE immediately onto the big Krog, you have your mark, so you can attack this 3 times and then E onto this mark, and you're gonna like a free attack speed passive. So how this looks on like an enemy, this is like harder to do on enemy opponent. But let's say these are all opponents. You can get triple dashes.
My
Basically,
eyes are open.
if you can Q in this direction where the edge of your Q is hitting both these targets and immediately Eing onto this one, by the time you E onto this one, your Moonlight hasn't landed on this target.
Dusk
That's basically
approaches.
it. So when you're doing something like that, your Moonlight hasn't landed on it, so your E is auto reset, and then you can E onto this again, and it's gonna be a triple reset. So if I turn off ability cooldown, you can do this. You know, you get 3 E resets, which is like pretty insane. No one expects it on Diana. And the next thing is R flashing. This is pretty obvious. I think most people know this, where instead of flash R'ing, which is actually pretty inefficient, you can catch loads of people off guard by R flashing. So you can start the animation for your R from here and then flashing into the fight. Oh, I failed. Yeah. Basically start it from here and then flash into the fight. But you have to time this really well, because if you just R here and you waste it, it's really fucked. So make sure you R flash really effectively. Next thing is that you want to be using your Q very diligently when you're ganking. So you don't want to immediately throw your Q. If you can, just walk up to them, W onto them, wait for them to like use an escape, like not ease over you, then you can Q E onto them, you know? You Q onto them and you get another E to reset. So to reset like pretty, like you don't want to use it too much. And then some other combos like EQ. This is really hard. You can actually EQ. Yeah, so you have to cast your Q while you're Eing, and it can reset your E. It's almost in all cases you want to QE, but in some cases you can EQ. It's really hard. I'll try to do it now, but I think I did it just then. Not too sure. But yeah, it's pretty fucking hard. It's almost never worth it. It's just something to do. You want to be using it really fast though. I don't know if I can yet. But just know that you can EQ. You can dash and Q and you can reset. Fucking hell, I really want to do it.
They would not.
It's pretty hard.
Listen.
Oops. Okay, I guess I can't do it. But yeah, just trust me you can. Next thing is Q flashing and E flashing. So this is pretty useful. Instead of flash queuing, it's pretty easy to react to a flash Q. Like you see Diana flash forward and cast her Q. It's so easy to react. If you cast your Q before you flash, look how much harder that is to react. And it also lets you have the potential to use them afterwards, right? And then E flashing. This is like a buffer thing. This isn't really like a technical mechanic. It's like if you flash and then E onto someone. Oh, I actually did it perfectly. If you flash and then E onto someone, there's like this delay in between. Where you're just waiting after you flash for like a split second. If you cast your E first, like you put in that input to E onto that, and then flash, your E will directly like. I don't have to explain it. It's pretty cool, but yeah, you can E and then flash, and it kind of you have to like time the distance well. So you have to measure the E range as well as the flash range. And you add these together. So if you E onto this, no, you can. It's pretty hard. You need to like get used to like knowing your E flash range. But yeah, once you do it, it's pretty fucking useful. So basically, whenever you're using a flash using ability, you can most likely use your ability beforehand. Pretty much with everything on Diana's good. But yeah, I guess I can't EQ though. I think I did it. Did I not? So fucking hard to do. You have to... I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, well that's pretty much it though. I might have done it then. Yeah, that's pretty much it.